Morning everyone, Happy New Year. It's January 1. Back out here with Valentina today. She has the day off. I probably won't film much, but I'm going to take this off and see what that looks like behind there, and probably make another batch of concrete if it looks like it did what we wanted it to, and add that. And then we're going to go inside the bathroom and tile that back wall with pebble tile. We'll see how that goes. So it's kind of coldish in here, but I'm going to open up door and windows, and we should get some a little bit warmer air in here. It's 40 something degrees outside right now. Not bad. It's next week. By the next week we're going to be in the teens and below up where we live. So it's going to get cold. Good morning, everybody. It's January 2, almost 10:30 in the morning. I've already been down the shed and got a few things going on here. Got some tools, what I'm going to need. So I'm on my own today, and I'm seeing that the concrete is starting to dry and nothing is cracking as far as I can see. I don't see any cracks anywhere. There's a couple little pieces where some concrete fell out. Then I think that's just because it didn't settle completely in. So I think I'm going to add on to this today. And then yesterday I didn't really sign off or anything at the end of the day. We just wrapped things up and got out of here. But this is what we finished yesterday in the bathroom. In the bathtub we did this rock. So a couple of different things that happened here was we started out with like this. But the problem is they didn't always fit together and there was too big of gaps. So then Valentina decided she wanted to rip all the rocks off and do them one by one. That overwhelmed me and I wasn't interested in doing that. So I moved on to doing something else while she started doing that. Then Roger came out and I talked to him about our front porch, figuring that thing out. Then I came back in here and I think she'd kind of realized a little bit it's taking too long to do one rock at a time. And you can see kind of the difference. These first two or three are put up just the way they came, and then these ones over here she did on her own one at a time, and you can see there's bigger gaps than over here than there. So it made sense for what she was saying on some of it, that things weren't fitting together right. So what we would do is we came to a new method where we left them on the square, put them in, and then where they didn't fit, we'd take a screwdriver and pop them off like a piece, and then put a new piece that we broke off that fit better. And we left this without cleaning it to let it sit the night and really set up. But at some point I'm going to really have to sponge this down and clean all the mortar off before I can put grout on there. Valentina didn't want to wash it last night. She said she wanted it to set up everywhere on there really well, because if we wash it with a sponge, it would kind of hit the mortar that's underneath as well, and she didn't want anything loosened up. Anyway, it's not perfect. I can see lots of flaws, but at the same time, it looks pretty cool. I think after it's completely finished, it'll be pretty awesome. Alright, so for me today, I'm probably going to be working on this tile, the big tile, on these two ends, and probably not going to reach the floor, but and then getting this concrete set up. And I still need to put that trim out here on the outside of this door as well. And it's starting to get a real cold trend coming this way. Next week we're going to be down even below the teens. I'm not looking forward to it. It's too stinking cold. So I brought this little heater that we had. We brought this last week for one day. It actually kind of warms it up in here. Not fast, but over the day it kind of warms up. So I'll just have that running in here. I need to do the concrete, and I usually use water that we've caught from rain and stuff. This is frozen. Frozen water right now, pretty much. So I gotta wait for that to defrost or melt. And I think the bucket out there that I was going to use for water for the mortar for the tile in here is probably just frozen on top. Alright, I have my new level out there that I'm excited about trying to figure out, make that work. I have my tile saw that I'm going to be using today that I bought a long time ago when we bought the doors and the windows. That was from the same company. They were running that amazing deal where everything was like 20% off. So that was 20% off, so I got that then. Also, by the way, I called 2 days ago to find out about the inspection on the insulation because nobody had let me know that they had done it or not. They got back to me this morning and left a message that they did do the insulation inspection and that it passed and free to move on and keep going forward. So that's good news. So we're basically ready for drywall whenever we're ready. Alright, enough talking, let's get to work. Anyway, so I set that up while this was charging, and then I took that bonding stuff and painted that for what's left over there. Letting that dry. And this is still thawing out. Once that gets thawed out, I'll go ahead and mix some concrete in there. Not going to do as much as I did yesterday. I'm just going to do what this takes up probably, or a little bit more, and just shoot for getting to the top of that. That way we're not putting too much weight on there, and it can dry a little faster. Since I have an extension cord, I could move this a little bit further over there. Maybe I'll do that so I'm not right next to it, and I'll be a little bit closer to where I'm cutting. All those things kind of evolve as you go and figure it out. So in fact, I'm thinking now that I'm looking at it, I may get my sawhorses out and put them up a little bit higher too, so I don't have to bend over to cut all the time. I can make a little platform. Alright, let's get to work on that. Alright guys, I figure this is something that I need. I want to make sure my tiles are completely straight. I do have regular levels, but I know that that's not going to make my tiles straight, and you got to keep checking, whereas this can just be set up, leave there, and left there, and there's always going to be a line. This is something that's new for me. I've never used anything like this. Ta-da! So what I like about DeWalt stuff is that I have so many batteries. I mean, that's for any brand. It's kind of the plus and the negative. You're kind of limited to buying whatever your company, whoever you choose to go with, is selling. That's one reason why I went with DeWalt originally, because they seem to have the most amount of kind of tools. So I have plenty of batteries now, and I don't need to be buying anything with batteries, which that always costs more, obviously. I've seen that all you have to do is just, there we go. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not. It's self-leveling. It's going to be perfect to keep my tile. And then I can do this and put my tile right on that square. So I'm looking forward to having a nice final finished product. You're probably wishing I would just get to work. That's still drying. I threw a little bit of concrete in here to maybe hoping it will break up the rest of this ice. Because I'd really like to get this mixed in on the wall while I'm doing tile, so it has as much time to dry as possible until tomorrow when I come out here. So this is what I did, is I took my H2O defense board, or whatever you want to call it, the backer board that I've been using. It's pretty strong. It's 1/2 inch, so as long as it's not leaking, I think, which it's not leaking, no drips or anything, and I got some water in there, so that will be my workstation. But this stuff here, I don't know how to cut, because I don't have this big of a circle cut to go on there, and I could, an experienced cutter could do something, and I could take my table saw thing and just keep lowering it and cut a square maybe and put it over there. But I thought, in order to make this a little easier, I can just make my grout line go up all the way here, which is where my challenges are, and I can just cut on the edge of the tiles and butt them up against each other. So I don't know what's the best way to do this, but what I'm doing right now is I put a backer board screw in and just put that on there, and I'll just follow this line as my grout line all the way up. And I can keep adjusting this horizontal line as I need it, I guess. I'll just keep taking this up. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know it did this. It puts the line behind also. Oh, wow. That's interesting. I don't know if that's reflecting off of there, because it's hitting directly behind it. So that's good. That's where my grout line would be over there as well. Obviously, I'm going to have to move this, but I know there's probably all kinds of ways, and there's going to be a learning curve with this laser. That way I'm going to be able to slide my tile under here, and it's going to not be a lot of gaps and stuff. It just makes this piece over here have to be smaller. It's going to be a 15.5 incher, and then there'll be something, it'll be a little off all the way. I'm going to basically have to cut almost every tile, but it is what it is. I'm still waiting for that stuff to dry. It's taking a while for it to get ticky-tacky. I don't know why it's taking so long. Might be just because it's cold in here, but I already had to take my sweater off when I'm getting too hot. So I'm mixing this. It's about the right consistency, or about what I had yesterday. Going light on the water. So we don't, or not yesterday, a couple days ago when I poured this. Light on the water. But the problem, one little problem I'm having is the crack resistant. A little rocky, so I'm having to bust it up. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. Make sure it's all mixed up. I added some more water from this bucket that we've been soaking our concrete tools in, so had to add a little bit more water. But I think that I don't want to make too much. I don't want to go too high. I still might not even make it to the top of that, because this is not a lot compared to yesterday. So I may add a little bit more. By the way, I used, as you guys saw, I used this mask when I was doing insulation. I'm using this one right now for the cement stuff, because I want to be able to just pull it off like this when I want to and take a breath. And I'm not constantly mixing or cutting up stuff that's putting stuff in the air. So I want it to be able to come off easier. But I tell you what, that one is so much better for somebody with glasses. This thing keeps fogging up my glasses. I can't see anything. So I'm really tightening down around the nose, which helps. But I got to keep adjusting and stuff. Anyway, I haven't been using a mask like I should be. And I want to keep this stuff out of my lungs and whatnot. So I remembered I bought these masks and I need to use them. All right, I've been letting a few things happen since I am working here. I've been trying to figure out this saw. It's kind of on the cheapy side so far, unless I don't have it quite right yet. But I cut one piece and it was a little time consuming, and I'm in there measuring and stuff because I was mixing this. And I started out, there was icy water in here, so there was shreds of ice in it. So after I mixed it and got it where I wanted it, kind of, I said I'm going to let this sit because there's going to be ice in there and it's going to melt. And I just want to make sure I didn't have a bunch of... It ended up being watery when I put it over here. And I've been waiting for this stuff to dry. It's still... You're supposed to wait till it's tacky, but it's still a little bit runny. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead, put this piece plywood back up, or OSB, my form. Put it up and put it up a little bit higher. And go ahead and add this stuff in now. It's a tad on the drier side, drier than I want, but I'll just keep tapping the wood to keep it to fall, because the less water I feel like, it's less likely to crack. So the reason why that took me so long, what's happening is when we very first put that first layer in there, we weren't able to keep it up. And it kind of bows in the middle. I don't know if you can see that kind of. So it's further out in the middle. Well, I created this, but I guess it's still not quite strong enough in that middle. So even what I poured is still poking out slightly. So I couldn't get this flush on both ends until I figured out what was going on, and then I kind of fixed it and really smashed it in there and tightened it down so it doesn't leak out the sides. But I think I'm going to have to figure out something real quick to make this a little bit less able to bend in the middle, just so it's a little stronger. So I'm going to figure that out right now. Works. I have a 2x4 that's not quite long enough. I wished it was, you know, another 2 inches so I could come out there and come out here, but it's just a tad short. But I don't have any more 2x4s or 2x3s that are that wide, which is kind of what would be the stronger and not let it bend. So what I did was I just took this 2x4 that's almost that length, and it is in front of this and in front of this one too. I just put a screw here into the 2x4, and that should give it a little bit more rigidity. Hopefully it's something as simple as that, and that'll work. So, all right, time to pour some concrete in there. Yeah, I felt like I didn't make a lot. And I'm like, oh, it's not even getting to the top of this. But then I remembered, oh yeah, I came up like 6-8 inches, at least 8 inches. I hope this holds. This is a little bit away, but not too bad. I see a little bit of stuff leaking out, but at the same time, I didn't make it quite watery. And that I'm not sure how I'm feeling about. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's about how far I am from the top. I had problems with this mesh. I was trying to keep it away from the front. Concrete was falling behind and pushing it to the forward, so I kept putting my hand in there. Same thing with this one, trying to keep it toward the back some. Well, let's see how that goes. I'd say I did at least probably 6 to 8 inches. Something like that. I think not nearly as much as I thought I was going to do. But I'm not going to make another batch. Just keep doing this. I don't know how. I also am curious to see how this is going to seal now to this layer that I did. And is there going to be a line in between them and an obvious line? And when I was pounding on this with a hammer and making stuff fall, I started getting concerned, hopefully, that I didn't hit too low. Ended up cracking something down there. I didn't think about that while I was doing it, and I was kind of pounding all over, and I was like, oh wait, that's solid down there. Oh, I need to be careful. So I tried to stay about here and above. Pounding down there didn't make anything fall anyway. It was basically this area made it fall the most. Hitting up here was making it fall some, but mostly this area here, which is basically the area that I filled, I think. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work. We'll be out here again tomorrow, most likely. I mean, that's the plan. And hopefully see if that turns out to be a good thing or not, the way I'm doing that. And like I said, Valentina's still planning on putting a small, thin layer of just probably this Portland cement or something. Some kind of a fascia on it to make it kind of smooth and blend in. We'll see. And then also painting it with lime wash, I think. We'll get this up, as long as we feel solid about it that it's not going to fall off. Then we can do whatever we want to the front and figure out the finished part. Alright guys, I'm probably not going to show much in the way of tile today. This is only as far as I've gotten. And I don't have the right tools to be cutting around these things. This I did completely with just the regular cutter. That's the reason why I wanted that grout line to go up the middle, because I don't have a tool for it, but I was trying to do a particularly great job of being so precise around it. And in doing so, I broke a bunch of tiles, and you wouldn't want to hear the things coming out of my mouth. So I got a couple other pieces laying over here. So I'm just doing the best I can with this. I was trying to use a jigsaw diamond cutter, and what it would do is to go up and down, and then catch something, it'd go up and hit the top of the tile and just bust it. Just totally cream it. Then I was trying to use this to cut a line, because I wasn't needing to go over something, but I was trying to do this line, and I finally figured out that I can just do it with this. But I'm waiting on Valentina right now to get back to me. She's working, and she isn't always able to get to her phone and answer my questions. But what I'm wanting to do is, I don't have something to go around this. I just don't, and I'm so frustrated and things aren't working. So I'm waiting to find out if she's going to let me. I want to just put a tile here, tile here, tile here. Vanity's going to go against here. The edge of it's going to come out to here. You're not going to see this. I can have tiles go all the way around it, but this part right here, it's just going to be exposed. The only other thing we can do is use the pebble tile, this stuff, and go around it. And just fill in around it if it's so necessary. But honestly, if you ever had a leak, it's kind of easier to get into backer board than to cut through tile and figure it out. So I think it'll be okay. You won't be able to see it. So I'm waiting to hear back from her. All right, back to work. I did not get nearly as far as I hoped to today. The sun just went down. This camera always shows it brighter than what it actually is. Brings light into the photo so you can see. Anyhow, this is all I got. I didn't even mix any mortar today. I just now cut all the pieces that go around this. Obviously got those two things cut there. And that's it. So tomorrow, hopefully, I'll cut a piece that goes there. It's going to be a small skinny piece, and then two pieces that go up this side that are going to fit over here. And then once I get it up kind of even here, then it should be somewhat easier sailing up this point until I get to here. But still, the seam's supposed to go there, so grout line. Once I get this done, then there's nothing on this wall to deal with. I got to do this little thing here and then the floor, but there's nothing, no funny business. Clean up a little bit, take some things back down to the shed that I didn't use today and I know I won't use tomorrow, and wrap this baby up for the day. All right, guys, almost 6 o'clock. It's the day is done, but I always come over here, unplug. This state, it just rains all the time and muggy and just a lot of moisture situations. So every time I'm leaving, just in case I'm not coming back for a day or two and I didn't know it, within every week we get some kind of moisture situation going on. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this or not. I thought this was kind of cool. Diego's got lights and lanterns all hanging out. I think that's probably off solar because it's not plugged into anything. Anyway, I don't know if you can see that or not, but pretty cool. Alright, guys. Plan on being back out here tomorrow. Valentina supposedly is supposed to have the next 2 days off. No, 3 days, sorry. She's always supposed to get a 3-dayer every month or so because she only gets 1 day off a week. So you can see this or not. Yeah, I think you can see a little bit better. When that sun was in the sun setting in the back, you couldn't see it as well. A little bit better. That's neat. Bren's keeps his stuff underneath here, and he's building this. We got some things going on. Anyway, Valentina's supposed to have 3 days off in a row. We'll see if that actually happens. A lot of things haven't been happening that are supposed to, and they call her in because people aren't showing up to work and things like that. But if she is able to, we'll be getting hopefully a lot done in the next few days out here at the property. I plan on being back out here tomorrow, so I will see you guys the next time I'm out here.